Mr. Nemanja will be joined by his colleague Luciano Kovacevic, who is the technical account manager at NSoft company. Respected speakers, you may now take the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. So you basically took the introduction of the company from us.
Oh, you're welcome. But you can also repeat it with the slides. So.
Okay. Well, as you heard, we've been dealt mostly with betting platforms and casinos and games of those sorts. And through working through that industry, we've seen a need for specific security software that can help casinos and bet shops be even more safe, to stop, let's say, minors from gambling and to stop dangerous players from entering, as well as notifications when VIP customers come in, etc. And then we started developing Vision, which has, from that point, spread to be a more larger product. And we've seen use cases in other industries apart from gambling. That's when we came to that what we have right now. Right now we have a really sophisticated, let's say, security software that helps you with day-to-day work. So we'll skip the PPT presentation as I think it's more interesting to show you a demo, and myself and Luciano will go through it, me from the product side and Luciano from the technical side.
Yeah, just my side of introduction. Before we jump in and before Nemanja starts with the explanation, Vision and NSoft globally is product-oriented company, and Vision, what you'll see today, is a global product that can be used in this form, but also doesn't exclude using Vision as a service or excluding different parts from the system to be used within an integrated solution, etc. So that's my side, and Nemanja will take it on.
Thank you, Luciano. So the first screen is pretty much similar to what you have in your regular security softwares. But when you click on the cameras, you basically see all the cameras connected to the Vision software. I'll start by saying that Vision can work with more than 1,500 different brands of cameras. All we need is cameras to be IP, and we can connect to them and get the smart features from them as well. As you can see, Vision consists of 4 major parts, which is live view, directory reports, and live reports. We also have the settings section, which Luciano will go and discuss a bit later. The first important thing is you can see is the timeline of the live view. So basically, when you go to the live view, you can see persons who are walking in front of the camera. This is their head detected here. And when anybody comes in, there's an ID card that pops up. Possibly someone will enter the company, I think right now. As you can see, you get the ID card, which shows if it's a male or a female, and it gives an age prediction as well. If you validate the person, you can see its name. If not, it will give you a visitor plus some generic number. The best feature of Vision software is this timeline, which basically lets you scroll down to up a second and see what's in front of dedicated camera and what was happening over there. So no need to rewind and fast forward to find some event that occurred. You can just zoom in, see who was in front of the camera, and by clicking on the picture, you'll get a video chunk of person entering and exiting the camera as well. It's really easy to use, and these features we find most welcome by customers. So basically, we have a lot of clients in warehouse departments where, let's say something's missing and they want to see who stole something or what happened. They can just zoom in after a second, scroll in and see who was in front of that camera and easily find the perpetrator who did it. What you can also do is search. You can go and find a specific person on the timeline, let's say this guy, you can click save. And basically you can just filter that person on the timeline and see what he was doing. And as I said, by clicking to the image, get a video chunk and see when he entered and exited the area of the camera. On the right side, you can also filter multiple personalities and get what they did in front of the camera and see when they were in front of the camera. And you can also do filters from just see the validated persons or non-validated or flagged identities. whichever you need. And on the right side, you can also click see less seen persons on the camera, and pretty much that's my part of the story, and Luciano will go deep in the technical stuff.
Yes. First of all, as Nemanja mentioned, we can connect more than 1,500 IP camera models into our systems, so different brands. And we can also use different brands simultaneously in one instance. For example, there were always clients' needs, for example, who has high vision cameras, Dahua cameras, Vigilon cameras. He wants to connect those in the same system. We support that option and also bring AI services to the cameras, which are usually cameras like normal IP cameras that don't have any smart functions. We, with our infrastructure, give it the power of AI, which means it lowers down the costs on infrastructure and actually on the solution as well. Also, we can work with any worldwide known brand that probably 95% of the clients have, such as Bosch, Vigilon, Hikvision, Dahua, etc. And that is a normal setup that we're usually accustomed with. Okay, on the timeline section, Nemanja showed you that you can pull the footages. And when you pull the footage, you get full HD footage from the actual camera. That is set. It can be set on a maximum resolution from the camera, and you can get the full resolution footage and download it, send it, forward it to maybe decision makers or a lead of security, etc. What you can do as well is you can request the footage both remotely and on a local infrastructure. And you can also choose if you want to limit it only on local infrastructure, or if you give allowance to pull it when you're somewhere remotely outside of the location. And it always depends on network infrastructure, both on the location and both on the location from where you're pulling the footage. What Nemanja mentioned to you, when you pull the footage, we actually have a service called chunk video transfer that actually transfers 2-minute clip and delivers it in a chunk files, which always load independently. So that way you don't actually have to wait for the loading and you can watch the full HD resolution from the camera seamlessly. Also, when you watch the streams on a live view section, you can the streams are delivered remotely under 1 megabit per second. If they're watched in 4-column views, which means it doesn't really require some high-end network infrastructure in terms of speeds and download and upload. So we don't actually require something extra special. Also, there is other side of the story, which Nemanja mentioned. It's AI services and face recognition, which is the most fundamental part of the system. And the face recognition works with 4 different models. One model is face recognition itself, or face landmarking and face detection. The other one is age prediction, which we predict the age of all the visitors and all people passing in front of the cameras, and we do it within the industry standard of ±5 years. From the real age of the person. So if you're 25, we can make a mistake of saying, okay, he's 27, which on a large amount of data in reporting and analytics, which Nemanja will show to you, the data gets really, really good, and you can see the demographics of visitors on your location being pretty well delivered. Gender prediction, we do it as well. We do it with over 95% accuracy in controlled environment. We do it even with 99% accuracy. The mistakes system makes, we say that human would have made the same mistake. So it's really good. Also, there's a very important part to mention before we move to directory section, which is difference between head detection and face detection. Nemanja mentioned it. Head detection is what you see, the green circle around the head of a person. You can see it on the stream, and Nemanja is just showing it to you. And that is something we use for people counting feature, meaning we show always in live the number of people currently in front of the camera. Not only in front of one camera, but in front of the collection of cameras, which you will see later on. And for this part, we don't need face recognition. So we only need heads of people. We don't even have to turn on the face recognition to have this data. On the other side, we have face recognition, for which we use in majority in the rest of the sections. So that's it on this part. Nemanja will move on.
So as we said, all the people who are seen in front of the cameras get their age and gender predicted, and they get their sighting stored in the directory. Here you can see all the people who are in front of the camera. Software gave them a gender and an age, and we have also typed in the names, so we validated them as employees in our company, which is then easy to scroll to and look for them. When you click on the person, you get the overview, and you can see when they were last seen on which camera and at what time. You can also see here where they were first seen. For example, if you have a company, you want to see when your employees are entering or when they enter the office the first time, you can see them here. You can see total number of detections, total sightings. Basically, you can see all the data about them and their sightings. Also, which is interesting in the sighting section, is that you can basically follow a person throughout your, let's say you have multiple retail, and you have a lot of cameras in those retails, and you can basically follow your customer through all your locations that you have. We have a client in Serbia which has, let's say, 70 plus vet shops, and they follow their players through various locations and see where they are staying the most and what they're doing over there. What you can also see is the similar section, where you can see all the identities that are similar to the person described here. Basically, software sees that there are similarity of some kind, and then you can basically scroll and see who is similar. Maybe if software didn't detect one person is the same one, or generated some other identity. You can see it here. If the counter is closer to 0, the person is similar to each other more. And basically, you can merge them by clicking let's say here, you can go to merge, and you can basically merge two identities, and it will remove one from the software, and it will all jump into the first identity here. Also, an interesting feature regarding the activity of the customers is this activity tab here, where you can see all the sightings distributed of your customer per days in week or per days in month. Another feature, which is good for companies, is this, or for, let's say, if you have a retail-based business, you want to stop somebody from stealing, you can tag them, give him a name, and then tag a person, let's say suspicious, VIP, employee, or whatever. And you can validate them, and next time they're seen, they'll have a tag that says suspicious, validated, or whichever you give it to. You can also type in date of birth, email, gender, which can be used for some kinds of loyalty. Also, you can flag a person. When you flag an identity, you can get notifications when they enter in front of the camera. So basically, whenever they enter your location, you'll be notified via email, via print screen, from location, also the time and the camera they've been seen on. So you can basically stop something before it even happens. Let's say you have a dangerous player or dangerous customer, you get notified when they enter your retail. You can, at the moment, you can send the security and you can stop them from doing the crime. You can also put other kinds of notifications. Let's say you want somebody who's from 20 to 30 years old, a female, you can be notified for that. We also had a use case for a customer in Germany, which wanted to be alerted when somebody enters who is under 18 years old to stop them from gambling. Also, an interesting feature, for example, if you have from your old security software some pictures of a perpetrator, you can basically create a new identity. You just give him a name and just put in some images if you have of them. And the software will process the images and say which one is good. And if one is bad, if the face is not detected, you basically delete it. and then you just create the identity with those pictures, and you can import them manually. And then when they see next time in the front of the cameras, the software will know who it is. Also, on the left side, you have different variations of filters. Let's say you want just to filter persons who are females, who software recognizes females, software recognizes, let's say, age from 20 to 54. Basically, you can filter different variations or validated persons, flagged individuals. Basically, you can create your own custom tag. You can play with it as you want. And Luciano will explain a bit more on this as well.
Yeah, so this section shows the side of face recognition and how we display it to user base. The first thing to mention is that our face recognition was made with currently we're at 2.0 petabytes of data with which we actually trained the system. So these were like the open CV images, open databases with which we use to train the system. For what Nemanja showed you the most part, I will explain a bit into detail how face recognition works based on this section. Nemanja, can you just move to sightings?
Yes.
And these are the appearances of people like appearing in front of a camera. Just to display one important remark, the reason why you see the same image is because we are using the demo instance. We have created it's a simulated environment where we play the same footages all over and over again. In a production environment, in our client setup, we have like normal appearances of the people with different images. So what is sighting? Sighting is like explained in a simple language, it would be appearance of the person. But what it actually is in a backend, it's a collection of frames on which person appeared. So for example, if person appeared for 10 seconds, the sighting would last 10 seconds. And we would use full sighting and all the frames within the sighting for face recognition. This way, we ensure the quality of face recognition, and we don't only use 5 snapshots, 10 snapshots. We use every frame from the camera we can to deliver the face recognition. This from the beginning and from the get-go ensure the quality, and it's also connected to the next tab, which is a similar tab. Nemanja, can you just move the next one? In similar tab, what Nemanja explained is list of people that our system sees as similar to the person you currently have displayed in front of you. Our system, it's important to mention that no face recognition system works with 100% success rate, not even in extremely controlled environment, and it's often mentioned as one of the flaws of face recognition, etc. But what we wanted to ensure is to have right setup to consult our clients the way they want to set the system up. The second part is to actually have cameras positioned well enough so they can do the face recognition. And third part is to give users option to actually merge and cooperate with AI. It means that Nemanja can use any of these identities and actually say to the system, okay, you made a mistake here. There is duplicated person. This is actually the same person. Can you merge these two identities? And from then on, these identities will be regarded as same. It would actually be regarded as Donovan Suarez, which means from this point, it's their identification is matched, and it's regarded that way. We also do give consultations in regards, to how our users want to use the system and get the most optimal performance. Also, each person, what Nemanja mentioned, when you flag the person, we also have notifications that follow up with appearance of this person, and you can use multiple types of flags. In regards to, you can use open databases of criminal suspects to actually track these people in your premises. if of course so is allowed, because this part is on our clients and how they use it. And on this side, it's important to mention that it's often our clients ask, okay, do you automatically recognize everyone that appears in front of a location? Or do you have to import first images, then you can recognize the person? So the answer is both ways. So our system gives recognition, and it gives anonymized name, such as visitor 98108. And also what Nemanja showed you, you can import images and from then on track their appearance. So this, of course, depends on client, how they want to use the system, what they think is the best practice, and of course, what regulators allow them to do. Also, most cameras, camera models or camera brands have different types of cameras, not only the IP cameras. They have cameras with specific functionalities, which we can integrate into the system. One good example is temperature measurement from human body temperature cameras, thermal cameras, however you want to call them. What we did in the past, and currently what we do with a couple of clients, is we integrated high vision temperature measuring cameras and delivered this data to our system to actually, in times of epidemic, to show for each person that is within the company, for example, you can see their last measured temperature and the history temperature logs to actually keep control of the environment, to keep people safe, etc. This is example of how it works live. And these identities cards that you mentioned, these things showing the name, surnames, validated, etc. These cards can be always adjusted on the client's needs. So compared to competition, we always show the way our system works, how good of a quality it brings, and the data you can get, the most important data you can get beside the identity head. Okay, and that doesn't, this integration aspect of the product doesn't only, it's not only connected to temperature, it can be connected to using LPR cameras, and it's always discussed based on the specific client's needs and how they see the system could be used. And then, of course, it's discussed based on cost effectiveness and other things. That's it on my side.
The third part of our software, which is basically used mostly by retailers, is this reports page, which gives you really important information about your retail. So basically, we're working with few shopping malls in Serbia, which use this as a footfall for their premises. You can basically choose dates and times from where you want to get the data, or you can just click here last 7 days, and basically the software will give you data about the last 7 days regarding your customers. So let's explain a bit. We have few points here. The first one is new identities, which is basically all new people who came in your shop. This can be used, for example, if you have a specific marketing campaign that targets, let's say, specific customers that are not showing up in your mall. And then basically, when you finish the marketing campaign, you can see how many new people who weren't in your shopping mall or your retailer entered during this marketing campaign. You can also see the active visitors, which is, let's put it this way, all the people who entered and exited the location regardless of how many times they were there. The unique visitors is the unique number of people who were there. So basically, as you can see, we have 61 unique visitors, which entered and exited 4,701 times, which is actually, this number is really, really important for a retailer, but most of the retailers now have these kinds of numbers. We're not using Vision. You can also see which is the most active visitor in your premises, the average age of your customers, how many locations and cameras you have. You can also see the total activity of your customers in days that you've chosen, or it can be done in, let's say, hours. When you choose just 24 hours, you can basically see how many people were in your shop every hour. You can see how many unique visitors were there, new identities as well. We also have people count, which gives you maximum and minimum number of people in that period of time. You can also see unique visitors that were validated or non-validated, the gender structure of your customers, as well as age distribution throughout gender, which is also a nice feature that you can have. Also, we can make heat maps for your retail, which can also help your business, and Luciano can jump in on that as well.
Yes, thank you, Nemanja. As Nemanja mentioned, the reporting section is connected to multiple sites, actually to each site where you have cameras. So if you have, I don't know, 5, 10, 20, 100 locations, the data will be centralized and shown here, depending on the setup you choose and the way you want to keep the data. Standard solution in our software is to keep the data for 30 days. It always depends on regulations, on how much you're allowed to keep the data, in regards to also keeping the footages, etc. And you can pull the data for different time periods and save the data so you can actually later on use it to have multiple reportings. Nemanja mentioned the most part, the most important things in the reporting section. I would just explain the people counting. This is what we mentioned is based on head detections, meaning we count the number of people live and then deliver this data in a historic manner, what you see right now. Minimum and maximum is it's for the different time periods. You can actually see in 1 hour there were maximum 10 people and minimum one person. So you can see the averages, the maximum amount of people in different periods. It's quite usable to see the data displayed in 3 ways. Also, there is option of requesting requesting heat maps, and it's service-based part of the system. It's not connected to the reporting section, even though it will be in a very near future. And heat maps are something that we do in 2 different ways. First way, with heat maps, we can deliver them based on people counting. So for example, if you have a camera in a retail where you have it above the one part of a store, if you have people passing on different sides of the store, you can say, okay, for the last month, show me what were the areas that attracted the most people based on people counting. So you can know the hotspots, you can know which parts of the store attracted the most people. It's quite good data to use it for retail design, retail redesign, just calculating the traffic, the way the customers behave, etc. And this is quite easy to do based on our standard setup of the cameras, meaning that we always keep those people counting cameras positioned as they are in standard security environment, and they just do heat mapping additionally. The other way we do heat mapping is through head orientation feature that we have in the system. So what our system can do is we can recognize which direction the faces are turned to based on the position of the camera. So if I have a camera in front of me, I can actually know, okay, this person is looking 20 degrees to the right, 30 degrees to the right, etc. And if we have specific setup, for example, let's talk about the store where they have shelves with dairy products. You can position the camera in front of dairy products, or some showroom, or take a conference, for example, and you can know at the end of the day, 30% of people looked in this direction, 20% of people looked in an upper right direction, etc. It's quite usable data to understand what the interest zones are based on where your customers are oriented. That's it, I think, on my side.
The fourth part of the software, which is pretty interesting for retail is the live report section, where basically you can see this is a demo, so we only have one location here. But imagine client having multiple locations. So basically, you can choose here how many locations you want to see and which cameras you want to see, and you can see on this map here and here as well, total number of people in all of your locations or just selected ones. And as people move in front of the camera and outside, this number follows that as well. On this interactive map, you can see all your locations, which will be circled, and how many people are in that location at that point in time. You can also see your top locations. For example, if you have, let's say, 20 retails, you want to see which one is the most active at that point in time, and you do a quick campaign. Let's say you're a bet shop, you want to give everybody a free drink. You can see which of your bet shop is mostly visited, and then give reward over there. You can also see all the locations on the right side here with number of people in them as well. You can see total number of your locations as well as total number of cameras. I mean, this is a pretty interesting feature for any retail that is really customer based and wants to see how many people are there in what point in time, and then maybe generate some reports or some marketing strategies using that.
Yeah. Just to add that the goal was to build something that would remind users of having Google Analytics, but actually for their retail business. Currently, we have demands of just retail owners wanting to know how much people are currently at locations. Is there a crowd? Is there usually crowd there? Should they open a new retail store nearby? This is up to clients' imagination and how they want to use the data. But the most important aspect is that this is live data, and it's always with a refresh rate of 5 seconds. So 5 seconds, and it shows you the most current data from the location. Of course, this, as Nemanja told you, this looks much richer when there's a number of locations, but currently this is demo instance, and if anyone wants to see it working in production environment, of course you can hit us up and we can get you some details. That's it.
So the last section is the settings section, which Luciano will dive into a bit more.
Okay, so in assets tab in settings section, first of all we try to build settings section with goal of adding the cameras into the system seamlessly, for which we build the automatic camera setup service. We call it camera control service, where you can scan the network where you're installing the system, and you can quickly scan the environment, and it can give you IP addresses of the cameras. Of course, you cannot see the data because this is demo, but we do it with dedicated server on the location, which I will talk about more. Adding cameras is quite easy. Once you have the IP address of the camera, you just need password and username of the camera. The rest will fill itself, and you just enter the RTSP URL, and you have camera monitored by our system. There were questions in the past if 2 sources can look at camera streams. Yes, you can use your current surveillance system on location as well as ours. It so far didn't create any difficulties the way we watched it. AI services tab, and I mean, can you just? And this is where you choose what you visualize on display. The goal was to have everything on interface customizable, meaning the user can choose what he sees and the way he wants to use the system. This stands for using flags. The users can create their own flags. They can visualize the way they want to visualize. And it also brings us to the part where Nemanja, you can jump in here.
Yeah, so basically the GDPR is one of the biggest questions in Europe, and it's coming to our region as well. So what we did in order to prevent that is this identity anonymized. So basically, when you click that, all the people that are in front of the camera will be blurred, and we will not recognize the face. We will just detect heads and do people count. As you can see, this is an unknown identity, so we just do everything without recording the face, and it's really, really GDPR compliant. So basically, it's one of the features that is most needed in Europe. But you can still, as I said, keep the people count, which is good, even though we don't detect the face.
Exactly. Okay. In a logged part, you can switch the third. You have just custom logs from our services that show you the if camera is online, offline, what are the reasons why it's offline, etc. It can be used by the system admins as well as by our side to help you to make sure that everything is handled. Okay, this leads us to the part of the way our system works and the way we set it up. You can perhaps, Nemanja, just keep it here. It's or actually you can switch to the locations below the cameras. Yes, you can open demo Mostar. So this is what you see when you install the system. We have two setup options of installing the systems. It's the first one, and it's the standard one, and we call it hybrid cloud setup. Is the one that a normal person, not technically sound person, employee can use to install the system. From our side, we have a user manual, the way it sets them up. Installation is quite intuitive. And this is what you see once you set up each location, when you install each location into the system. The reason why we call it hybrid cloud solution is because we have a cloud instance for centralizing the data, where we just keep encrypted data of people that were recognized without the images and footages. And we use the locally dedicated server, or the PC, that we use for AI processing. Meaning we use it for, it's GPU and CPU intensive, and it also has hard disk to keep the footages locally, not to move them to the cloud. This solution is pretty standard in terms of licensing, in terms of servicing, in terms of having support for the system. NSoft has a policy of having 24/7 customer support, where the customer support agents are fully equipped and trained to help solve problems and issues in this standard setup. Second solution is to have full local solution, where you have only local processing and local data centralization. Meaning for high-risk institutions, for highly risky locations, clients can choose to keep the data locally and to only allow people on the inside, users from the inside, to actually access the environment. And here you have a chance, opportunity to see how we log into the system. And it's important to mention that Vision is web-based, it's browser application, regardless if it's local solution or if it's a cloud hybrid solution, because we use browser as a main way to log into the system and watch the camera streams. Fully local solution, of course, is not standard solution. It's discussed based on clients' needs. It's always different in terms of infrastructure, central servers, where they keep the data, VPN, etc. This is also something we discuss with our clients and see what the best case scenario is to set the system up and give access to the most important personnel. On the workers tab, Nemanja, you can quickly show, and we can finish with the presentation, is the services in charge for AI processing. This is something we allowed our users to see if it's working when they give us insights. So when we discuss something, we can always check this part and give our users knowledge to actually understand how the system works. Are the streams regularly processed, etc. And we covered the most of it. I think, Nemanja, if you have something to add on.
I just want to sum up and just say that what we do is that we make smart cameras out of regular IP cameras. We give them smart features. We basically connect to your surveillance system, so no need to invest in anything, in new cameras, as many other solutions do. We are really easy to use, as you said, as you've seen. We're really user-friendly. You can basically see all your cameras from anywhere. You don't need to be on the location, so you can basically jump in on the web browser and see what's happening at your retail right now. You have the, sorry, my dog. So basically, you have all the smart features just by introducing our software.
Thank you for that.
We can jump in. And also, he wanted to say something as well.
This wildest dog.
Yeah. So basically, if there are any questions, we can answer them.
Yes, with that, we entered the time for questions. I strongly encourage everyone who's watching to use this opportunity to ask questions for Nemanja and Luciano. However, yeah, we'll give you a couple of minutes if there are any questions. Currently, there are not. From what I've had to see, this is very sophisticated software. And I really applaud you for thinking of some of these features. Some of them are really like downright amazing to see. Yeah. I will however, ask my own question, I guess, that
Sure.
I'm curious about, which may help clarify some things to potential clients. What are the benefits and the opportunities that your clients will have for developing their business and when they are using your systems and services?
So basically, it can go in many ways, but one of the most important ways is to know to keep safe your business. As I said, casinos, retail shops, basically security is one of the biggest features. Easy data, which is really, really important, not to use more time than you have to. As I said, timeline is really, really isn't time consuming as all the other softwares where you have rewind and fast forward. Basically, whoever sees the timeline says, hey, this saves a lot of time for me. You can also see all the number of people and really get insights and reports as Google Analytics for the retail. So basically, you can know your customer habits by using this software. Everybody has security software, but this just gives you something more, so you can really, really know your business and know your customers.
Very interesting. Thank you for your answer.
If Luciano has to add something.
Yeah, sure.
I would say from my side and from what I've seen so far from clients is it's really user-friendly. It's not intrusive. If someone has used software from different camera manufacturers, they are probably accustomed to having dyslexia from using the system because it gets displayed in lots of different manners. I think this is quite intuitive, and usually the people that don't even have like advanced IT knowledge and software knowledge can use the system after 2 hours of explanation, and they can reap the full benefits from it. So I think
they can install them by themselves. It's really, really, everything is really easy.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, thank you. Since there aren't any questions, I will encourage those that may have questions afterwards to connect with Nemanja and Luciano and the NSoft company on the Connect2B platform and to use the opportunity to develop business as well. With that said, thank you for sharing your knowledge about the systems and services that the NSoft company provides. We appreciate the time you've allocated for this presentation. Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you for giving us the chance.
Welcome. All right.
Have a good time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, likewise. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.